Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to document me trying to restore a used steering wheel that I purchased. I was lucky to find it for pretty cheap. It's a sports steering wheel for an E70 X5, and luckily all the controls and everything are in good condition. Even the leather is not that bad, relatively matte. It does have a few shiny spots and it feels a little tacky to the hand, so I want to try restoring it using a couple products I got from my local Walmart here. First will be this Lexol deep leather cleaner, and after we're going to follow up with a leather conditioner. Now I don't want to get all of this section really dirty, so what I'm going to do is remove these pieces and then proceed with trying to restore the wheel. So let's go ahead and start by removing the screws here at the back. They're T20 Torx. That should release this piece here. So that takes care of the steering wheel trim out of the way so that we don't damage it during restoration, and we can get into all the nooks and crannies. So to start with, I've tried restoring leather steering wheels in the past, and one thing I found is you got to be really gentle. Don't use pressure, because if you rub too hard, when the cleaner soaks into the leather, it can make it really porous, and it could actually start to eat into the actual hide. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this leather cleaner here. It's kind of like a gel, and I'll gently rub it in, and you can see it is actually pretty dirty. I can feel it really dark and dirty already, so it's working well. Luckily this steering wheel doesn't look like it has too much wear and tear on it. I got a killer deal on it. I only paid $79 used, and it's a heated wheel. The goal is to make this go completely matte. When you're getting into some dirt, you can feel it kind of grab. Really dirty there. You can feel it grab your cloth as it's trying to lift out. It's kind of like when you're clay barring a car. That's really bad. And then as it gets cleaner, it feels easier. So I say let the cleaner do the work. Don't be grabbing around the wheel with your thumb and finger and trying to create a ton of pressure to speed things up. You run the risk of damaging the leather. Now we'll move to a new cloth and just work on buffing away some of the solution. Try to get it to a matte finish and get rid of the sticky feeling. Now it's really starting to feel clean. The cloth's not getting stuck as I glide over it, so the dirt isn't waiting on the top of the steering wheel to get lifted. So my cloth's staying relatively clean now. Just to give you an idea how so much dirt we've taken off. Pretty gross, but it's a used steering wheel, to be expected. And for what I paid, I can't complain. It's starting to look and feel really good. I'm going to let this air dry, and then I'll come back when I'm buffing it, just to get rid of any solution remaining, and then we'll condition it. Alright, so I'm done with the cleaning stage. Now I'm getting a damp cloth to wipe away anything any of the cleaning solution and try to go for that matte finish. Now as this dries, it should look really nice and matte, almost new. Feels good. Not sticky or tacky anymore. It feels good. So I'm going to let this air dry now. Looks very matte and nice. So we'll let this air dry and I'm going to try to clean up that trim piece now. Now this isn't very bad, but as you can see, still a little dirty. These are very hard to find that aren't all chewed up here. So I was happy to find this in good shape. I'm just using a damp cloth and nothing else to clean this. And we'll follow up with our dry towel. So there we go. I wiped those down. They're looking pretty minty. So set that aside now. The wheel feels very dry and tack free, and it's got a nice dull matte finish. Happy with that. Now what we need to do is condition it so that the leather can stay in this condition for a while. So what you got to do is, we're using the leather conditioner now. Just going to put some on the cloth like that and just work it in. Can't really use too much of this, really. The leather will just absorb as much as it needs from experience. And this stuff smells really good. It smells like leather, actually. So I'm going to go around one more time. The cloth stayed clean, so we know we're in good shape there. I'm going to go around and put a second layer on, and then we'll let it sit for a few minutes. I'm going to flip it over and do the back side as well. We'll let it sit for a few minutes and then we'll buff it off. I can actually feel the leather getting supple. It's funny how fast it works. So we made our way around. I'll let that air dry and then we'll flip it over, do the back side, and then buff it off. Let's wait a few minutes. I'm going to flip it over so I can apply this to the back side. So we'll let that absorb in and then we'll flip it over and buff it out. You know, with a clean cloth, let's go ahead and buff out any of this leftover conditioner. Going back to that matte finish again, but this time the leather is a little softer. So there we go after the conditioning. Looks nice and matte and feels really soft and supple now. So let's restore this trim piece here. As this sits, even with the leather conditioner, as it sits, it starts to go really matte. So it feels really good. I feel like it could use a very light wipe with the damp cloth, since the leather conditioner has worked its way in, just to get rid of any surface residue. Just a very light once over, just to grab anything that could be sitting on the surface. So there you go. It looks and feels really good now. Nice and clean, nice and matte. And just to give you an idea of what this is going to look like in the car. Alright, so it's the following day. I let this dry overnight. And I just want to show you the end result after everything evaporated off. It's completely non-tacky and smooth. It just feels like a brand new steering wheel basically. You know, this thing was 79 bucks. It wasn't mint by any stretch of the imagination, but it had a couple nicks and dents in the leather and whatnot, and that conditioner absorbed in and kind of made the leather supple again, so you barely even see them. So that's the end result. Looks really good. Nice and matte. Very happy with the outcome. So I'd recommend those products. You can find them at Walmart. The Lexol leather cleaner. Very happy with that. I think it looks great. So that's how you guys thoroughly clean your steering wheel. I don't know if you're going to be taking it off the car, but just goes to show that you can get some great results with stuff you could buy at your local store. So thanks for watching.